The sky was burning red when Sergeant Kara Voss crashed onto the surface of Zero's 9. Her ship, the Falcon's Grasp, had been ambushed in deep space by pirate raiders. No warning. One moment she was on patrol, the next she was spiraling through a planet's upper atmosphere, flames licking the hull and alarms screaming in her ears. The ship broke apart as it hit the dense air, parts scattering across the alien jungle below like sparks from a dying fire. Kara's escape pod slammed into the ground, half crushed and sparking, but she was alive. Bruised, bloodied, and furious, but alive. Zero's 9 was not a place anyone went by choice. It was known across the galaxy as a death world, a term few worlds truly earned. The air was heavy with toxins that could blister lungs. The soil was rich in bacteria that could chew through flesh in hours. And the wildlife, every crawling, flying, slithering thing was built to kill. It was said the planet itself rejected the idea of peace. Kara climbed out of the smoking wreckage, clutching her side. Her armor was scorched, one leg servomotor failing. Her rifle was cracked down the barrel and useless. All she had left was a sidearm, 2 flares, and a plasma knife. She took a breath, coughed hard, and pushed forward into the jungle. The trees around her stretched high, their black leaves rustling even when there was no wind. Some of them moved on their own, slowly shifting like they were watching. The deeper she walked, the stranger the world felt. The jungle pulsed. Colors didn't stay still. Shadows crawled in the corners of her eyes. Even the ground seemed to shudder under her boots, as if something massive breathed beneath it. At first, she thought it was her injuries messing with her mind. But then she heard the clicking dot. It was soft at first. Clicking, clattering, like bone on bone. Then it grew louder. More clicks. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. They came from the trees, the underbrush, the shadows all around her. She raised her pistol, heart pounding. A low growl vibrated through the air. Deep and unnatural. The first one leapt from the trees, 6 legs, long claws, eyes like molten gold. It looked like a cross between a wolf and an insect, moving too fast for something its size. Kara fired, missed. She drew her plasma knife and braced. Another one came. Then 2 more. She slashed at the first, ducked under the second, and jammed her blade into the third's throat. Black blood hissed as it touched the air, but they kept coming. Dozens. Too fast. Too many. She threw a flare. The bright red light made them pause. They hissed and backed away, blinking their unnatural eyes. Then one of them spoke. Not with a voice like hers, but a perfect mimic of human speech. Calm, mocking. Why did you come, human? You were not invited. Kara froze. It shouldn't be able to talk. It shouldn't know her language, but it did. And it smiled when it said the words. She backed into a tree, and her boot struck something solid metal. She turned and found it, half buried in the dirt. An old beacon. Alien design, cracked and covered in vines. It was still running, barely, blinking a weak blue light. She brushed the dirt from its screen and saw the message flashing. Help you, S. The hunger has awakened. That was when she realized something far worse was happening. This wasn't just a hostile world. It was a world calling out in fear. She looked up, and the forest had changed. Every tree behind her, every leaf, every shadow was now moving toward her. Not like wind, not like animals, like one massive thing. A single presence. One giant, crawling something that had just noticed she was there. The clicking returned, louder than ever, and it wasn't just coming from creatures. It was coming from the jungle itself. From beneath the soil. From the sky above. Kara turned and ran. Kara ran through the jungle, heart hammering, legs burning, breath ragged in her throat. The clicking behind her turned into crashing, something big, fast, and almost invisible, tearing through the underbrush like it weighed nothing. Branches snapped, trees shattered. She didn't look back. She couldn't. Whatever was chasing her didn't make sense. It didn't follow footsteps or sound. It felt her. Every time her fear spiked, it got closer. The ground trembled under her boots. The air crackled with energy that wasn't natural. She sprinted toward a cliff wall she'd seen earlier, barely managing to scramble over rocks and roots before. She spotted the dark opening of what looked like a ruined structure built into the cliffs. Giant stone pillars stood cracked and moss-covered. Strange blue symbols glowed faintly across the walls. The entire place hummed with a quiet, electric thrum. It wasn't just old. It was ancient. Kara stumbled through the entrance, pistol raised, knife ready. Inside, the air was colder, drier. The clicking stopped outside the ruin, and for a moment, everything went dead silent. That was when she heard a sound that made her freeze. A voice. "Don't shoot." It was weak, trembling, almost a whisper. She spun around, and in the shadows she saw it, a tall, thin alien figure crouched beside a pile of broken metal. One arm was missing. One eye was sealed shut with scar tissue. Its skin was pale and ridged, and it wore a half-shredded suit of tech fabric. Kara aimed her weapon, not trusting anything on this hellhole of a planet. But the alien raised its only hand slowly. I am Vale, it said, struggling with the words. Zentari, scientist. I do not wish to fight. Kara didn't lower her weapon, but she didn't fire either. Explain, she said, voice cold. Vale looked up at her with something between shame and terror in his one remaining eye. We came to this world for the core, the ancient energy buried below. We thought it was dormant, but we woke it. Kara took a step forward. You woke what? Vale shivered. The hunger. He pointed to a massive metal door deep inside the ruin, built into the rock. Strange machines blinked around it, half-dead consoles, blinking lights, wires running into the stone itself. The door wasn't built to open. It was built to contain. Val spoke fast now, like the words were boiling out of him. Long ago, the first ones locked it down here. A being of fear, of pain. It does not kill with claws or fire. It feeds on what you feel. The more you suffer, the stronger it becomes. And now, it knows we are here. Kara stared at the door. The humming behind it wasn't mechanical. It was alive. A rhythm, a pulse. And every few seconds, the metal throbbed, like something behind it was breathing. We tried to steal its energy, Vale whispered. We broke the seals. We thought we could control it. Now, it is everywhere. Suddenly, a shrill alarm blared. Through the ruins, harsh red lights blinked on the walls. The ground shook violently. Something dark slithered across the stone floor faster than Kara could see. Vale screamed. A black shadow rose from the ground itself. No form, no eyes. Just a cloud of hate and whispers. It moved like smoke and slammed into Vale. The alien's body convulsed as if frozen mid-scream, then vanished, dragged through the wall without leaving a trace. Kara fired 3 rounds into the air. Nothing hit. The shadow was already gone. The runes went still again. Her HUD flickered and sparked. Then something new appeared on her visor, a signal. High orbit. Human frequency. Human fleet approaching, ready to strike. Kara's eyes widened. They'd heard the signal. Somehow, somewhere. The human military had gotten the distress beacon. Help was coming. She almost smiled until her HUD flickered again. Another signal. Deeper, not from orbit. Warning, prison seal levels critical. She stared at the door. The pulses behind it were louder now, more intense. Like a heartbeat speeding up. The mere seal. It was weakening. Something was rising from below. Something ancient. Something that fed on screams and built itself out of fear, and it wasn't going to stay buried much longer. Kara stepped into the tunnel beneath the ruins, leaving behind the scorched remains of the upper chamber and the echo of Vale's scream. The path ahead was narrow and twisted, carved out of black stone and lined with alien metal veins that pulsed. With a deep red light, her boots crunched over bones, some Zentari, others unrecognizable. The walls were covered in strange, twitching vines that recoiled when she passed, as if the planet itself knew she was trespassing. Every breath she took burned slightly, and her oxygen was running low. The deeper she went, the hotter it got. Not like lava, but something more oppressive, more alive. The heat pushed into her like pressure, a slow, crushing force that grew stronger. With every step, the catacombs turned downward, spiraling like a funnel into the depths of the planet. She began to hear voices, not from her cums, not in her ears, but in her mind. They were soft at first, familiar, her squad mates calling her name, her brother's voice, her mother's lullabies from Earth, but the voices twisted quickly, changing into screams, sobs, and sounds of people begging for help. She clenched her jaw, kept walking. She knew a psychological attack when she heard one. This wasn't memory. This was it, the hunger reaching into her mind, trying to use her pain to break her. Then she found the core chamber. It was massive, circular, and deep, like a buried stadium. At the center stood a colossal vault door, shaped like a great wheel, etched with glowing alien runes. Around the chamber, the floor was littered with corpses, hundreds of them. Zentari in scientist robes, some still gripping tools, some clearly trying to flee. All of them had died with eyes wide open, mouths frozen in silent terror. They weren't just dead. They'd been empty, drained of will, of identity, like their very essence had been torn out. Kara stepped closer, and on the vault door she saw fresh writing smeared in dark blood. 4 words scrawled in crude strokes, FEAR. Is its door. She stared at it, heart pounding, and the vault pulsed in answer once, like a heartbeat. Then again, faster. The whispers in her mind sharpened. She saw her squad again burning, screaming, dying in the crash. She saw her past failures, regrets, guilt, every mistake, every weakness. The hunger was clawing into her soul now, trying to crack her open from the inside. She dropped to one knee, gasping, blood leaking from her nose. Her hands trembled. But even as her vision blurred, something inside her pushed back an instinct born from Earth, from everything she'd survived. She wasn't a soft scientist or a shielded officer. She was a Deathworlder, trained for war on the harshest planet known. Earth was a place where even the plants tried to kill you, where animals evolved around violence. And Kara was forged in that fire. She screamed and forced herself up, slamming her fist against her chest plate to override the suit's safety protocols. Her last fusion cell, meant for emergency life support, was removed and rigged into a manual detonator. Enough explosive power to level a mountain or maybe reseal the vault. She climbed to the platform in front of the door and placed the cell against the control panel. The moment she touched it, a high-pitched shriek filled the air, and the entire chamber shook. Cracks spread across the vault like lightning. The runes flickered, then failed. Kara reached for the detonator, and the vault door opened. A blast of darkness poured out, not just blackness, but the absence of light, like space had been folded inside. It hit her like a wave, throwing her back against the floor. Her armor cracked, her ears rang. She rolled over, blinking through the smoke, and saw something stepping out of the core. It looked like a child, a human boy, no older than 10, barefoot, eyes glowing white with soft tendrils of shadow curling from his skin. His face was calm, even kind. He looked around with curiosity, as if seeing the world for the first time. Then he smiled at Kara. "You're too late," he said. His voice echoed like a chorus of many voices, some ancient, some screaming, some hers. "I'm already free." Behind him, the darkness slithered out like smoke with claws. The walls cracked, the ground shook again, and the whispers became roars. The hunger had a form, now a vessel. It had used the vault not as a prison, but as a cocoon. Now it had a body, a shape, and it was ready. Kara crawled backward, still clutching the detonator. The fusion cell blinked in her hand, still active, still capable of being triggered. But the boy stepped toward her, eyes burning, shadows writhing at his feet. "You were supposed to be afraid," he whispered. And from above, through layers of rock and ruin, Kara heard a distant sound, deep, heavy, powerful. The sound of warships entering the atmosphere. Asterisk. The sky above 09 split open with the sound of fury. Earth's finest warships punched through the dense atmosphere like divine swords, fire trailing behind them. The lead vessel, ISS Resolute, was flanked by a dozen destroyers, gunships, and troop carriers, an entire armada descending on the cursed planet. As the clouds boiled with re-entry shockwaves, the jungle canopy screamed, and beasts fled in every direction. High above, the mighty Deathworlder fleet had arrived. But down in the blackened core of the planet, Sergeant Caravus wasn't looking. Up. She was staring into the face of the hunger. It stood there disguised in the form of a child, but no child ever carried that kind of power. Its skin shimmered with shadow, its eyes endless white voids. Every whisper in the air came from it, and around its feet, the darkness spread like a virus, twisting into clawed limbs, writhing tendrils, and forms that imitated the dead. Kara's squadmates, her parents, people she had lost, people it had pulled from her memories, "You're not real," Kara growled, crawling toward the fusion cell she had dropped. Her arm was broken. Blood leaked from her temple. Her armor was failing. But her mind, her will, was still burning. "Oh, I am," the boy thing said, voice echoing through the chamber. "I was born the moment your kind first feared the dark. I have waited, grown, you fed me. Every scream, every war, every dying breath. Now I rise." The ground split behind him. From the vault poured horrors, shapes without form, beasts with too many eyes, things made of screams and teeth. They surged toward her, and for a split second, Kara almost gave in. The weight of it all pressed into her soul, telling her it was over. But then she heard it, a single thunderous voice in her comms. "Sergeant Voss, this is Commander Thane. We have you on scan. Sit tight, we're coming in hot." Kara's eyes lit with fire. "Negative," she rasped, pressing her fingers around the cracked detonator. "The thing's loose. If you get too close, it'll take you too." There was a pause. "What is it?" Kara looked at the hunger, now circling her. Like a storm. It's fear, weaponized. It's ancient and hungry. And it wants off-world. Static crackled. Then Commander Thane's voice returned, grim and cold. "Understood. Authorization granted. Do what you have to." Kara grinned through bloodied teeth. "That's what I was hoping you'd say." She staggered to her feet, holding the fusion cell in one hand and the detonator in the other. The boy form of the hunger cocked its head, curious. "You won't kill me," it said softly. "No." Kara said, "I'll burn you." Then she ran straight toward the thing. The darkness screamed. Tendrils lashed out. Visions tore at her mind, earth in flames. Her fleet turned to ash, her own death in 100 forms. But she kept running. She slammed the fusion cell against the core vault's edge, pressing it deep into the control node. The lights exploded with a burst of blue, and power surged through the floor dot. The hunger shrieked, its form flickering. Losing shape, Kara raised the detonator. "You fed on the wrong species," she whispered. "We're the monsters you should fear." She hit the trigger. The blast ripped through the chamber like a sun waking up underground. Heat, light, pressure, pure annihilation. The vault ruptured. Stone and metal liquefied. The shadows screamed, clawed, twisted. The hunger's form shrieked as it lost shape, breaking apart like glass under a hammer. Above ground, the jungle erupted. The ruins split apart in a tower of flame. Even from orbit, the explosion was visible, a bloom of white fire punching through the clouds. In the command center of the ISS Resolute, silence fell. Then the sensors cleared. No sign of the anomaly. No trace of Kara Voss. The hunger was gone. But so was she. For several minutes, no one spoke. Then Commander Thane turned to his crew and gave a single quiet order. Mark it. Cleansed, but never forgotten. Weeks later, the Deathworlder fleet departed. 09 was left under permanent quarantine. No one would land there again. The core was sealed with orbital platforms and auto-firewalls. Humanity had faced something even the oldest alien empires had sealed away and ended it, or so they thought, deep beneath the scorched surface of 09, in a forgotten crevice untouched by light or fire. A tiny black fragment pulsed, just once, then again, and from somewhere in that endless dark, a child's. Laughter echoed,